this is weird, because you're really, really, really kind of like, it's almost like being in a K-hole, but like in a really, really, really like dirty, greasy, sloppy way. And I actually made a song called Greasy Salty Water one time when I was at a rave about that. But yeah, it's just, and it's super dangerous. Yeah, I was like the one that was like, okay, I'm gonna be born, and you know, because she could have had an abortion, but she said she just didn't want to. But I feel that now, like looking back, like my mother has not. She's never really there for me, you know. Like she was there for me, but I had to be there for her. It was like I had to be there for her in order for her to be there for me.
Even when you were like a little girl, like 5 years old, 6 years old, you.
Like, yeah, when I was like 5, like I remember my mom just like trying to live her life with her men. Like she'd be going and she'd be trying to, we moved around a lot, and then she would meet a guy, and I remember like being in this truck, it's like transport truck, and I don't even really remember this either. I just remember like being in the transport truck, and then like the trucker she was going out with saying like, telling me to take the bottle out of my mouth because I didn't need that anymore. And it was like, maybe he thought I was too old to be drinking out of a bottle. And then I took it out and I never touched it again after that, you know. And then, yeah, and then when I was, you know, fast forward to high school, grade 10, grade 9, grade 8, grade 9, I felt very like I just wanted, I ran away from my mom, like when I was like 6. You know, I ran away when I was 8. I ran away when I was like 12. I ran away when I was 14. I ran away when I was 16. I ran away many times, and because it was it was like this constant fighting, animosity, and it was always derived from her. It was always coming from her and her problems, or her, what she wanted, what she didn't want, what was going to work for like her and the life that she was trying to have right now. And then when my sister was born, you know, that was another thing, and that kind of took some weight off of me. But also at the same time, I became like the father. You know,
So like, how old were you when your sister was born?
I was 7.
Okay.
But at that point, at 7 years young, I had already known so much about my mother's financial and relationship issues and her family issues. You know, like at that point, I had known every day there would be a conversation, and you know, or whatever you want to. It wouldn't be a conversation. You want to call it a conversation. It was more like, yeah, and this is blah 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 blah, and this is blah 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 blah, and that blah 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 blah. Right? Right? You know? Right? And she'd always ask these questions that are like not really giving you a choice to have your own point of view, giving you the point of view, and
Kind of
then you
rhetorical.
just responding with the correct answer. And so at the point, it was abusive. I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck she was talking about, and I didn't want to know, and I didn't want to have to try to figure out answers for her. I didn't want to do that. I felt very, very, very like entrapment. I felt so much like, just get me away from you, like get me away from you. You're crazy. And you know, and you're not. And she was abusive, like physically. There were like, you know, she smothered me like a couple times, you know, And this was constantly, like, since, you know, it was
Smothered
consistent.
you
Like with a
with a pillow,
pillow, like on the bed. Like I remember one time, like I think I was in grade 9 or grade 9 or grade 8. And she just like came onto, I don't remember what it was about. I could not, I just know she came onto like I ran or whatever. Like I left the room and I went into my bedroom and she came in there and stormed in there and like jumped on top of me and put pillows on my head and tried to smother me. And yeah, and then other times, like, you know, she cut my clothes. Like, she would like we would struggle to buy the clothes, and then she would cut the clothes, like right after we bought them. Like,
like cutting holes in them, or just chopping off
she'd
sleeves
cut
and
them. No, she'd just take the
oh,
scissors and
okay.
go. Or she'd take the knife and cut them.
And did something like trigger her, or something go wrong, or she just would just snap and do this kind of stuff?
Like, I don't know how to explain this. This is the crazy part, is that I don't know how to explain how someone could go from talking to you
Right.
to boom, outright, like, now I'm gonna wreck your shit, or now I'm gonna, like, you know, smother you, or now I'm gonna, like, tell you, like, you can't, you have to talk. You know, she'd be like, oh, you have to talk. And it was crazy. So when my sister came, I was like, I was relieved at the first, because I was like, okay, thank God she's gonna. It took so much more focus off of me, but at the same time, she also that didn't last very long, you know. And my sister's father was not a good guy either, and he passed away. But he was always abusive, like ever since I met him. Like, he was very belittling, and he would have a tone in his voice when he talked to me, and it would be very like, you are this and you only do this, just by the tone, like just by the tone, just how he would say my name was so full of like jealousy, or like envy, and he had so much temper. He was very, very quick to temper. He would be very quick, but he would surprise you. Like, it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't be able to be like, he wouldn't be like quick to temper throughout the day. It would be more like all of us, he'd sit there on the couch with his, I think he would drink beer and watch and just sit there like this redneck fucking, because he was a redneck, and he just like hung around his trailer all the time. And you know, sometimes he'd go out into the field and run the machinery, but you know, in general, he was like pretty boring. Like, didn't do nothing. And I was like, and so my mom and me lived with him for a short period of time, like a month, or sorry, 6 months. I don't know. I have no idea. Whatever. Anyways, he was a flippin' jerk. And then
Were there conflicts between him and your mom?
I think
Or
there
they,
might have been. I think there might have been. I don't think it was like super big, but I think there might have been. I'm not sure. Like,
okay.
not like super, like, but yeah.
And it sounded like with your mom, it was very like one-sided, like her kind of talking at you. Was it ever a point like when you were a
No, it was
kid?
always about her. It was always about
Yeah.
her. It was always about her, like her point of view, her story, her interests, her humor, or what she found funny. Although I would say things, and I would, you know, I wouldn't obviously like only talk about, like, because I would be like, I don't know what the fuck to say. Like, for the long time, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to say to this. How am I supposed to know? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not even thinking like that, you know? And then I think eventually I started getting used to it. And so then I started to develop this kind of like empathic kind of like not maturity, but it was almost like enforced empathy, you know, empathism, but like enforced. It was like enforced, like, you know, it wasn't, some of, obviously, it was, part of it was coming from a pure place, but a lot of it was just coming from force. Like, it was like I had to like force myself to feel what she felt, or I had to force myself to be in the space that would be helpful for her, you know, that could help the whole situation. I had to like, you know, and so eventually it became like, now now I know what this is going to be, you know. So I was also very much like taken away from hanging out with people that were my age, and people that, or people in general. Like, you know, she was very isolated. We lived a lot like in the country, so, you know, and drove like stupendous amounts of time to go to work. So she would live in the country in one place, and then she would work like 2 hours or an hour and a half away, to have to drive to get to work. And yeah, and it inflicted on my school. I was always late. So I wasn't always late, but I'd be late because you know, she'd be late. So I'd be late, and then I'd be trying to get her to get out the door. And she's like, it's like she's the spoiled brat that I need to like coerce that she needs to work. Or I need to coerce her to get out of the fucking house. She's the spoiled brat. She is. She's spoiled. Like, she had everything. Like, her family was like, you know, rich. Pretty rich. Not rich, but like upper middle class.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So, like, at what age did you kind of start finding like your own friends, or like around your own age, start kind of?
well, like, I had friends of my age, but I just never got to spend time with them, right?
Okay.
Like, I never had a lot of friends, but then the friends that I did have, I never got to spend a lot of time with them because I was always having to attune to her life, to always, you know, go out, go home, listen to her money problems, her relationship problems, and then try to figure out a fucking solution. Now we got to figure out how to get the rent. We got to figure out how to get the food. When my sister came along, you know, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, I guess, in a sense, because I didn't have to, all of a sudden the attention was reverted onto my sister, and it relaxed my mom, obviously, because it was now her second child. So she was much more relaxed, but my sister also took like 40 hours to arrive onto Earth. And yeah, so then I I think that I've always, you know, as I was living with like when I lived with my mom, she was going out with a musician, so I was always like kind of like around the music and the dancing. I was always kind of like always dancing. My mom put me in figure skating. She was always bargaining with the figure skating clubs, like, and making deals because it's very expensive. And, you know, so I never had like a brand new pair of skates. I always had like a used pair of skates. I always had like, you know, sort of like not enough course, like not enough lessons for figure skating. But I was always doing so good because I was so good at figure skating. Like, I loved it so much that my joy took over the fact that we didn't have enough money. Like, my joy was like, fuck this. I love this. So I'm a fucking like, just go. Like, my energy, I was like, woo! And I love it. And I still love it. And I still love any, like, and so it's like not something that is like, oh, it's a hobby. No, this is like this is a part of a way of living. This is not just something that, okay, I'm going to, but it's like an inspiration thing, but it's also a lot of the way that I communicate, and that I think we communicate. If you come from that, if you forget about all the entrainment that we had in this society, I think that is the natural, the automation is like to be chaos, to be undefined, to be moving, and to be moving and expressing with your body in all faculty, like in all types of areas of your life. I think the more like that is like the true expression, and that will help to bring the intellectual entrainment. It will complement it. What I'm saying is that the the movement, my mom was always like, ever since I was born, she's like, you look like a punk rocker. Because I was born on a Saturday night at like 8:30 p.m. downtown Edmonton, like party time. And like I was ready, and I was like, even my picture was like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go, man. Not fucking around. And like, I would just be like, so I was always never a baby that was like, go to sleep on, don't tell me when to go to sleep. Don't tell me when I have to eat. Like my mom was like, you would cry blue murder if I tried to put you up for a nap. My sister was different. My sister was much more of a calm baby, and like she would sleep on,
A schedule.
scheduled times. She was also much more of a comfortable baby. Like she had more comfort, I guess. She wasn't as, with my mother, I was like constantly going out with her on these like, I'd be going with her everywhere because she was like, didn't have anybody, she was hairdressing. So I was born in Edmonton, but she moved all over Alberta. So she'd be like hairdressing, but then have to bring me to work with her. And at some point, I guess it didn't work. And so she'd be like having to take me on all at random times in the night. Random times, like I would, I remember one time we went and rode the subway for like 5 hours in Vancouver because she didn't have, I don't know where my uncle was or something, and she didn't have enough money to get a hotel room or something. And so we just like rode the subway until he answered the phone, or like, we'd go on this, whatever, I don't even remember all of it, but that was, it's at the point, it got to a point where it was like I had been her confidant. I had been taking the role of the daughter, but the abused daughter. Like the daughter is like, I was taking her abuse. Like I was the one that would be the one to be the reflector, or like, she'd project her frustrations, and then I would be reflecting that off of myself. And but also not having a place to come back to me. So there would be all this stuff that I'm like deflecting, that she's projecting, that I'm aware of, and my father, blah blah blah, and then I would be like by myself, so I'd have to like deal with it all. And so finally I just was like, okay, I am running away. I don't want to, like, I don't like this. Like, this is not fun. So I think, yeah, at 6 years young, 5 years young, I tried running away, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8. And then, because it just gets more psychologically abusive and physical. And I mean, it wasn't so physical, but there definitely was physical. And like, she's put a knife to my back one time. She's just crazy. It's just, she'd get, so it was,
And all this is was like from your mom, as far as like the physical abuse, like the stepdad, the guy, or the guys didn't ever.
There was no.
They were just more verbal.
There was no physical abuse from any of the guys, but it was just having their kind of shitty ass attitudes,
Right.
around, and that as an influence just was not, not good. So, and then, yeah, so then after that, I finally, I think it was when I was like 15. When I was 14, I started going to raves, right? And
Okay.
14 and a half, and stopped figure skating. And then I started going to raves, and the raves were like figure skating. I was like, this is like figure skating. I was like, this is better than figure skating because I don't even need skates, and I could just skate with my feet, and I could just like, and like everybody's dancing too, so it's great, I'm like, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, fucking like 2 years later, the music changes, and it's dark, and you got weird people. You got juice monkeys, you got puck bunnies. These are slang terms for those people that, go and do their fitness routine, take all the freaking supplements. They look blowing up like the Michelin man, and they look fake as fuck. And they come with their ego and their attitude and their money. And they go into these rave clubs and they don't do anything but stand there, get fucked up on G and do this, and then do like a little bit of movement, a little bit of this, a little bit of, but at the same time, the movement is all about like talking about, how hot their sex was or something. They're talking about this in the club as they're dancing, and it's like, or when they can, or some sort of sketchy drug talk, which is a whole like another thing I don't even want to, go into because I don't know it, but I'm just saying it's sketchy drug talk, which makes sense if you're high and you're, in that atmosphere. But after that, you start realizing, okay, like what the fuck are you guys actually creating from this? What is fun about this? What is fun or funny?
And who's the other group? You said Juice Monkeys and Puck something.
Puck bunnies.
What are Puck bunnies?
Like hockey bitches, like girls that are, or like juice monkeys and bitch sluts, like, or not, but what am I talking about, bitch? Like muscle workout, like people that go and just go to the gym all the time, like just that's all, and they take supplements, and then they they wear these like brand name clothes, and then they go to the raves or the after hours, and that's when they start with their drugs. They'll take the drugs, like the workout drugs, and then they also take GHB. GHB is like not an illegal drug. It's a natural hormone, obviously that that our body makes. But it's also really, really fucking dangerous. And it's gross. I call it greasy, salty water, because greasy, salty water it's like, that's what it tastes like. I've tried it like once, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is weird, because you're really, really, really kind of like, it's almost like being in a K-hole, but like in a really, really, really like dirty, greasy, sloppy way. And I actually made a song called Greasy Salty Water one time when I was at a rave about that. But yeah, it's just, and it's super dangerous. But like they were doing this all the time, all the puck bunnies and all the juice monkeys. So there's a whole influxuation of these type of people. And they also brought in the methamphetamines, like the crystal meth, the speed, the GHB. Those are all these drugs. These three drugs came in all at the same time. That the music started changing, and the melody left. So there was melody. There was like hard house. There was acid techno. There was rock house. And I was like, and then there, of course, there was also jungle and drum and bass and heavy hardcore and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like there was only like drum and bass, jungle, and then there was like this really, really, I forget, it's like down tempo, like techno, but it was like, and then there was some psych trance. Psych trance was okay, but like there was this really, 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 really like dark. It was like dark, but not dark techno in a sense that, okay, this is like, we're going to take like, maybe like heavy metal and mix or that type of thing. There is dark techno now, but it was like just not good melody. Very like, I don't know, it's like equivalent of listening to like the turbine on a airplane and like a tractor or something. It was just like really bad. And I'm not being like rude. I'm not being mean. I am coming from all my perspectives coming from how my body is experiencing it. And that's the truth. So I'm not coming from a place of like, I need to prove my ego. I need to prove that I'm better and I make better music, or that I know, because obviously everybody, I have lots of, and I look on, and I don't as well knock the people that are making these other types of music. But what I am saying is that what I did notice is that there was a big change in the vibe, and the music goes hand in hand with the vibe,
Right.
and the frequency, and the drugs changed, and then the people changed, and that's when I started like not going, to raves as much, and then.
But like when you were going to the raves and everything was good, like what did you
Oh,
enjoy
I
about it?
love like the free flowing dancing, obviously, like the free flowing, the nonstop music, the nonstop movement. Everybody's all paying attention to themselves and to everybody, but there's no, the it's different than going to a bar. If you go to a bar, people, what I was used to anyway is people stand around for the most part and they look at you, and they'll either look at you like a piece of meat or like a hot thing to, or they'll look at you and pick you apart, or you'll start dancing and nobody will start dancing, but you'll be like in the middle of the floor and people will sort of be like looking at you. That's the sort of like what I was used to seeing, because I always went to like pretty much small town or like in the middle of nowhere schools, like because we were living in the country, and then we'd be like, sometimes it would be in like a bigger town, but most of the time it would be coming from like these really small town like hick things, and it was just like they have a very very hard way of they're very set in their ways.
All right, so you start going to these raves.
Yeah.
You love it as much as
Yeah,
figure skating
yeah.
or more.
Yeah.
The scene kind of changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's to say that we like fast forward to like high school, maybe the end of high school. Are you having like a lot of close friends and
That was in high school. And
high school, right?
No, and then I graduated from high school. It was a joke. I was like, what the fuck? Like, so it was so boring. It was like nothing. The people I graduated with, like, it was like nothing. It was like my mom didn't show up for my graduation. She went to her abusive boyfriend's house the night before and then didn't show up. And, she showed up to my sister's graduation. Obviously, all these things, I don't blame her for that, but I also look at it like, but that did happen. But that did happen. And then, the graduation itself was an absolute boring as fuck. After graduation, I left, and I started. I like took off, and I think I moved to Edmonton, and I think that was like close to when I went out with that guy that I lost my virginity to, and he was a drug dealer. And that was shortly around that time, because I was 17 and a half when I graduated from high school. So I I think I started working, and then I was working at a club. It was like a nightclub, waitressing, and that's where I met my best friend, Amber. And then I met my other best friend, which was her friend, Ashley. And Ashley and me, she was hilarious, and we ended up hanging out. And well, all of us ended up hanging out, but like Ashley was like super, super funny girl, super fun. I loved her so much. And then I was heading to Australia. I was saving up to go to Australia because I was like, I'm not going to school for anything because I fucking just got out of school for 10 years, 11 years, whatever. Like, and I need to get the fuck out of there right now. There's nothing you could convince me I want to go to any, like, fuck that shit. I'm going to travel. So, yeah, so I was working, saving money, and then, yeah, I got into the car accident, and my friend died, Ashley, and it was her car, and then it happened on my mom's birthday, and then I was in the hospital for like a month and a half. I had like a brain injury, and I was on life support for a week, and then we got into the car. Like, I was not driving; I was passenger, but I think Ashley had been drinking a little bit, but she was going like really fast, 140 kilometers on a merge coming off a freeway. So but I didn't remember anything. Like, I woke up in the hospital and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, and then, but it was like, all I can say is that I was like, almost like it was very slow. Like, everything was almost like I was like in this safe space of like this bubble of like, my friends were coming, and then I met this honey bear, this huge honey bear. There's a huge honey bear. And he was in my room. I met him in the hospital, took him home. And, and then I stayed at home for like 10 months at my mom's house, and it was crazy. I should have just like, I went, they're like, we only have two options. You can either go to the Pinoca Institute for the Psychiatric Institute, because you need to let your brain like relax. It's got to be like not a lot of stimuli. So we don't think it'd be good for you to live in the city. So either you go to your mom's, or we can send you to the. And I was like, well, fuck that. I'll just go to my mom's. And of course, my mom is being all nice and stuff, and she's probably under her own little amnesia or whatever. And then, went home. My sister was a psycho. She's like, I wish you were dead. My sister. She's like very envious, I think. I don't know. But regardless, so then I left my mom's house after 10 months. I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, why the fuck did I even come back here? Then I moved, and I moved to the Duke, Alberta, and I worked at a Subway shop there for like a very short period of time, and then I took off and I went to Australia and Singapore. My mom and my sister came and visited me and like made sure that they took me to the airport to say, serenade me or whatever. For some reason, it was really weird, because it was almost like they didn't really want to do it, but they had to be there to at least feel like they had some sort of like involvement in my choice. Like, what? So I don't go. And it was like weird, because after I left, not even like a month into, I had just gotten there. I had just gotten to Australia November 5th. I think my mom called me, or I called her, and she's like, oh yeah, Sahara, your dog has to get his leg amputated, and because he's got cancer in his bone marrow. And I was like, oh my God, like, oh my freaking God. So then I sent back, she's like, it's $1,000. I was like, I can't send back $1,000. I just got I'm on the other side of the freaking world. Like, I don't even know like how I'm gonna like do it. Like, I just got you. Like, you're still doing this. You're still doing this. Like, I cannot fucking stand this anymore. Like, don't have a child. Don't have a child. If you want the child to take care of you, don't have a child. If you're in a place where you can, like, don't have a child. Just so I could be your emotional fucking support. Like, that's That's an interesting way to bring someone to the planet, is that I can be there just to support your emotional fucking like rescue, you know? And that's what I feel like a lot of people do, is they have kids so that they can have something that they can lean on to take care of their like their heart. But it's bullshit, because that's not their heart. Because your heart is not going to entrap. It's not acting from a place of like selfishness. It's not coming from that. And I'm not saying that my mom was selfish, but I'm just saying, like, you know, in all these times, you know, you choose in the moment and you act in the moment. But, you know, what is your vision? What do you want to create in your life? And like, how is your body being affected by the struggles that you're going to, you're going through, to you're choosing whatever to create this reality? Is it worth it? Are you making, like, what is the clarity, you know? And this happens in a lot of families, a lot of girls, and I mean, Canada is just one place. The States just one place. This happens all over the world. And like, I guess I'm grateful still, because it could be worse.
Yeah. I just want to backtrack a little bit. So, like, when you made the choice to go to Australia, this was like a one-way ticket,
Yeah.
right?
No,
No round trip.
It was a return.
Oh, okay,
I had a
okay.
visa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just wanted to go. Just
I went
experience it for a little while?
Singapore, Australia, New Zealand.
Okay.
New Zealand's my favorite. Australia, no, I've always wanted to go to Australia, and I was like, I want to get the fuck out of like school. I want to get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want to go to university. I want to go. I want to get out of Canada. I want to go on a tour. I want to like live. I want to experience myself away from that.
So you bought ticket to Australia, and then from Australia to Singapore, like that?
No, to Australia, but you have to stop, because I flew with Singapore Airlines. So
Okay.
they have to stop in Singapore and then go to Australia from there.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 30-hour flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you do while you were in Australia and Singapore?
Singapore, I was only there for like a day and a half, so
Oh,
it was
okay.
super hot. And Australia, I did so much there. I got robbed. I got like my wallet, my fanny pack stolen by this fucking Italian wog that I had hung out with in Melbourne, Australia. I was with him for like on and off for like a month. I hung out with him, and he ended up fucking just creating super distractions. And I was like coming out of post-traumatic shock. So a lot of everything I was experiencing, I was not necessarily registering it as what it was, you know. So I hitchhiked, I rollerbladed 400 kilometers to Australia. I called Triple J, the radio station, told them what was happening. Got my ticket stolen for U2, trying to get into U2, da-da-da-da. They didn't give a shite, but they tried to act like they did. But yeah, and then U2 postponed their concert. Edge's daughter got leukemia, so I was working in Adelaide at a footy club for like a month and a half.
At a what club?
Footy club.
What's that?
It's like a rugby club.
Oh, okay.
You know, and so I was working there, and there was a guy named Bob that had got me and introduced me to it, and he brought me to this club, and then I stayed with him. I stayed with Bob at his place, at a spare room. He's like had the hugest feet ever. He was like a seagull. Like, I found him on the beach. And then Ron, who was like the owner of the place, and he had no butthole, and he had a bag, and I remember he was like drinking and stuff, and he'd be like, oh, and I'd dance with him, and
He had no what?
he had no butthole, because he had he had the bag.
Oh, colostomy bag. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
And then I was in Adelaide. I went to like the horse races, and then I was like in the newspaper, and and then I said, fuck this place, I'm getting out of here, it's boring as fuck. Then I left, and I put an ad out. I went with these two Canadian dudes up to a place called Cooper Pedy, which is like fucking, they're like, oh, it's underground, and no, it's not. Like, there was a couple things that are underground, but for the most part, it's like a slum in the middle of the fucking desert. And there's like, yeah. So I yeah, I traveled with these two Canadian fucking dudes. One guy was from the East Coast. The other guy was from Toronto, Oakville. So boring. So boring. Like, absolutely. I was like, oh my fucking God. Nobody is talking. Nobody is talking. Nobody's talking about anything. Not even like the outside, nothing. They're not talking about their experiences here. Like, what the fuck is happening? And so, like, I had this journal and I'd written like a huge, and I lost everything. But like, I could probably rewrite the story or whatever. But it was the fact that I was writing in the moment. And yeah, we drove across the Nullable. It's like 1,000 kilometer stretch. And yeah, we got to like a place called Margaret River. And Margaret River is like a place where there's this guy, it's like on the very southwest tip of Western Australia. So they have like these amazing surf competitions, and the wakes, the wave, the height, everything is like fucking massive. And I was like so excited, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. And like, I'd met this sailor in Portland, Australia, at the beginning of my trip. This is like when I just left Melbourne, and I was rollerblading, and I was like, I got to the next state, which was the next town, but it was in another state, Portland in South Australia. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met this really fucking sexy sailor. He was like, I don't know, he looked, from what I remember, he was like, excuse me, he was like tanned, and he had like dark hair, and I think his eyes were brown. He was really muscular, but he was like super relaxed. And I was like, hey. And like, we're in this bar, this club in Portsmouth, that the floor is fucking moving. Like the floor, I swear, is like dancing with the people, with the vibrations. It was so fun. And so he's like, oh, I'm in that ship right there. And it was huge. It was like a huge fucking like 7-story ship, but it was like a freight ship. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I ended up going over to the ship and trying to, because he left, and then I was like, oh, I'll go to the ship and like, you know, say hi and tell him like, hey, remember me? Hi. So yeah, but then he never showed up, and whatever, didn't find him. So then I went to Margaret River, and that's where he was from. So then I put this ad up on the news bulletin board, and I was like, hey, Popeye the Sailor Man, where are you? I met you in Portland, and you blah 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 blah. And yeah, I don't know what happened out of that, because like, yeah, then I shortly left and I went up to Perth. And then from Perth, I stayed in Perth for like a couple days, and then I took off with this guy from Ireland and this girl from Germany. And he had bought a car that required it came with a hammer. It was $500. He bought it for $500, and he had sometimes hit it with a hammer, the piston, to start the car, because the piston motor was going. Mm-hmm. So we're driving, you know, I'm thinking like, this is going to be so fun. This Irish guy, German girl was sweet. She was young though. She was like 19. I was 20. Well, I was 22. I think I was 22. Anyways, so we're driving, and you know, it's fine, but then they didn't have anything to say, and then he turns on his fucking annoying Irish fucking music, and I think this guy was from Cork. Cork people, oh my god, people from Cork are like, no, boring as fuck. I like was in Cork. I was in Cork for a short period of time, and I got kicked out of a wedding because they invited me, and then they're like, oh, well, you don't have a dress, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll wear my bell-bottom jeans, and then I'm dancing, and then I get kicked out because my ass crack's showing. But they were like, oh yeah, we're so relaxed, we're having a wedding, you're so relaxed having a wedding, but you formalities can't seem to slip your mouth, can they? Well, that sounds like a fun wedding. That seems like a fun life. That a little ass crack is gonna fuck your day up. It's gonna fuck your so secure wedding, your so secure wedding, your so secure love. But a little ass crack is gonna fuck that up. Is gonna offend you, annoy you, piss you off, possibly create a divorce. Cause, like this is what the type of like reception or whatever that I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways, this guy is from Cork and he's this type of guy. So he's just driving and he's like just this the whole fucking time. Driving and this stupid annoying Irish music. And I was like, oh my God. And the girl's not talking and I'm like, okay, I need to, so I'm writing everything down. I'm writing in the moment. And to finally get to this place called, we go to Coral Bay and we end up swimming with a manta ray. So we stayed there for I think it was 3 days, 4 days. And I'm like, oh, this will shake him up. This will fucking shake them up. This will make them more whatever. No. Didn't do nothing. It was insane. So the next day we get to a place called Tom Price, which is a small little mining town in the middle of Western Australia. It's super hot, but it's full of Kiwis, people from New Zealand. And people from New Zealand are different from people from Australia. Kiwis are way more friendly, way more personable. They're funny, they're sensual, they're just chill. And they're not aggressive. Australians are abrasive, aggressive. They're kind of talk at you. And Kiwis invite you in with them. They invite you in with them. Whereas Australians, I didn't find that. They kind of use you. And I found, so when we get to this town and there's this store and I'm like, okay, I want to go in here and get some grapefruits. So I go in there. He stays out of the car. She stays out of the car. I come out. They're standing outside the car with this really long faces. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, the car's not starting. Oh darn. I wonder what the fuck we're gonna do now. Shizen. I guess I'm gonna go over to the bar, see if I can fucking meet some people that are funny. We're alive. I don't know, move or something. Do something crazy. Not tell you what to do, but be silly. Can you be silly? Because that's what we are, is silly. Fast forward to now.
How long were you in Australia though?
A year. Almost.
Shit,
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
So you bought your return ticket
yeah.
that, you spread it
Yeah,
out
you can do that.
Oh no, but just okay. So you were there for.
Yeah, if you're gonna go that far, I'm not going for a month. I'm going for the longest time I can go.
So what'd you do for work, or did you just?
I did everything. I danced and I was a go-go dancer. I performed in a couple places, a couple clubs in Melbourne, a couple clubs in Darwin, and I also when I was in Adelaide as well, and I also I picked grapes for wineries. I did that for a little bit, and I was a waitress, and I think I did a lot of couch surfing. I did a lot of I stayed in hostels. I camped. I had a tent. I caught a ride with a sheep trucker who's taking me all these slaughterhouses. That was not cool. I was definitely there for his so I didn't have money, or I had money, but it's I was making my way in my own way, and then it's I was there to keep him company when he was
Mm.
doing speed to stay up and driving a 3-trailer train truck full of sheep. And it's just this fucked up. Yeah. So I almost got pulled in the ocean by Rip. I almost died in Margaret River. That was fucked. I literally the water was coming in, so the surfers are going out into the distance and the waves are 20 feet, I swear. They were big. But I was okay, that looks like fun too. Look at all these people, they're going out. They're all of them are going. I was but I'm not gonna go out there, so I'll just go over here. And the waves are coming kind of rippling in. And I cautiously go in the water up to my waist, but I'm on my knees. And then I'm just looking back at the shore. And then all of a sudden, this thing of water comes over my head and all of a sudden the ground's gone. And I was like, oh my God. And like, I just automatically start racing. I'm like a speed skater. Like, I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I'm just like giving her. And I pull myself up, take a breath, get pushed under again. But luckily, I was in a position to grab onto the reef, and the reef was helped me instead of me getting caught under the reef. The reef helped me, so I was very lucky. You know, nobody saw me. Nobody saw me. That was a moment that I had complete peace in my head. Like I had no thoughts. I had nothing. And I was just there. I was like, wow, I feel peace. Like just so peace, so grateful. So I'm here, I've landed kind of thing, right? And then, you know, so nobody knows that, you know, but then yeah, I came back to Canada and
everything kind of starts back like how it was.
yeah, like nothing changed. It was like she was still, you know, fighting and arguing with me for nothing, like nothing. Like I remember going back to her house and like as soon as I got in the car, she's like something like, oh yeah, so that's good, that's good. Well, anyways, I don't have this and that and blah blah blah, and yeah, it's and then my sister is same, like basically mimics, like her backs her up like on that.
So at what point does like music start to come into your life? Well, it's always kind
So
of
like
been for a while, but
yeah.
like when like you
So the
start
first
creating
time
it.
I made a song was in 2010. My first song was called "Feel Your Soul," and it can be found on YouTube and Apple Music. But it's called "Feel Your Soul," and I wrote everything in the moment. I didn't write anything down. I rode my bike, had the words come out. I went to the studio 4 hours. I came out with a mastered. Well, it was a demo version mastered. The fucking guy, like, such a fucking ripoff. This industry, $400 for 4 hours, and it's like all my content just because you have the hardware. I'm paying you for the hardware, but honestly speaking, like, what a dirty, dirty business. You know, it's very similar to dealing drugs, like the music business, because it's you're dealing with like entities that are charging you just because they have the hardware or the software to harness, to like enclose or to, you know, put something out so that you're intellectual, whatever. But it's, you know, it's really not that much work.
So
But
like,
that was my first song, and
okay.
then I went
So
to
when you made the first one,
yeah.
was it kind of like a one-off thing, or did you know for sure like
No.
you
I
were
was going. Yeah,
okay?
I was like, no, it wasn't a one-off. I was like, yeah. That's always what I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to dance for bands. I was like, I was either gonna dance for bands or like dance, you know, in some, you know, open space and with people, and there's an audience. Like the audience has always been a thing for me.
Right.
I like audiences. I like crowds. I like my space too. I like being alone too. But I have this like real urge to be seen, and real, and when I am seen and I experience that, it's like everything that I have, it just comes out and like totally like stops people. They're like, whoa, where did that come from? Or where did, you know, kind of like never seen that before. And it's maybe I'm not doing something that's maybe I could just be doing, but it's the energy. It's the way that I'm like coming at it, coming from this place of like not not very programmed, not very planned.
So like what's your process when you're making a song? Like are you like the pen and paper, the typing in the phone? Is it
No.
just off the top of your head, like just
No, most of the time
streaming?
it's no. Like when I told you when I do my concerts, my shows, I make the music in front with the people, with the audience. Every song that I'm making, every song that I sing, it's like I'm channeling it. So it's like I'm not planning it really,
Okay.
and I prefer that. I can do a little planning, but I don't. I've taken some music theory, but you can't start from a plan. I don't think you can start from a plan. You have to. If you start from a plan, the plan deteriorates the creation. It deteriorates the expansion of the creation. Like unless you have like. Because, like, where are you planning from? You're planning from what, whose reality? Like, are we trying to mimic when we're trying to be seen? When the reality of the channels that are controlling the, you know, the distribution of our music, of our dancing, of our videos, of us. When is that? How is that? The entities that seem to be in control of that is like a fucking. It might as well be gangsters. I mean, in general, like a big part of the music industry is gangster. It's run. I think it's money laundering. I think they're washing drugs. They're washing money for drugs. They're washing money for weapons. They're washing money through music. That's why you get a lot of like this very insecure, but like fake ass structure of like, oh, this is what quality is, and this is what this is how you got to make this. Is because most of them are hiding shit. But I think at the end of the day, the movement is coming from is going to move and change to create more for you if you create from the place of not done before or not create a place where you're not instructed on the how, but you're actually tapping into the movement within your body and the feelings and the sensations within your body, and then using that for a place of movement creation. And that's with music, that's with everything. And if you include your body, how many industries are created that we're working at right now inside our society that are built with the mindfulness of how it's going to benefit your body. How is your body going to enjoy this? Is this fun for my body to do? Is this fun for my body to feel? Is this fun for my body and me to breathe in? Is this fun for my body and me to share? Is this fun for my body and me to touch another body and not have this guilt or this point of view that it's a sexual exploitation? Like, what happened to people just communicating with their bodies instead of with words? Because the words are a part of an intellectual whatever, but if you only do that, then you stop. And how is that creating an unlimited existence or unlimited experience on this planet? As my body, I'm not looking for people to make me happy and my body happy through having a relationship that is with another opposite sex or the same sex, that's going to subside my, my boredom. My boredom comes from me not acknowledging my own infinite capacities with my body and including my body with everything I'm doing. Because I'm not just writing and I'm not just making music, but the music is coming from a place of like chaos and silence and stillness. When you harness that, and that comes from being very, intimate with yourself and honest, vulnerable. Vulnerability is like huge. And detaching from like any outcome, detaching from from the victimization of what I'm talking about. Because I'm not, it's not, even though I'm aware of this and stuff, it's never like, it's never their fault. It's never that fault. Because if I'm putting in the fault on someone, then I'm taking the power away from my choice to move. And that goes into movement, that goes into expression of words. Words are expression. So if I'm taking that, if I'm taking the power and I'm owning my own power, then I'm not like blaming. I'm not looking for who I can blame or what I can blame. I am speaking about what my experience has been, but I never came into this planet to blame someone for my discomfort or for anything. I came here to choose something different, create something different, and have fun with our bodies. Like beyond what we already had fun with. Beyond like what is my body, beyond going in a roller coaster. What does my body do that can give me more the same exhilaration as skydiving, you know? As can I do that in the most simplest way? You know, without any you know, hard additives or add-ons, you know? What can I do with just my body and me and my consciousness? Because your consciousness is your body. And the more that you know, tap into your own joy and your own like self, so, you know, we got to be like, I might look like shit right now and I'm going to still be funny about it. Because, you know, like, that is going to be more, that's sexualness. So sexualness and sexuality is a really big thing, because that's, if you notice, like now it's like, ever since the pandemic, it's like, oh, now all of a sudden, like there's a lot of gay people that are like coming out and like, it's like this huge, I think this has been going on forever, but it's another distraction. It's another distraction to trick people into thinking that they're evolving and that there's some sort of revolution happening. But I think the real revolution is when we are able to like move with our body and communicate with our body without being told how to. And that is also with making music and communication. So I'm not saying it's wrong about talking, but what can we do, including the talking, and also adding the movement of the body and adding the expression, adding the not so perfect, you know, translation of intellectual property, you know?
So did you have all this coming into making music, or was it something that you kind of learned as you continue to make music?
What?
Everything you just said.
No, this is not something that I've learned. I mean, no, like this is something, it's my belief. It's like my truth. It's my truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
like nobody told me to have this like belief. It's like, it's my truth. It's like what I've always been.
yeah. So has anything changed with your music since that first track that you made to like where you are now?
Yeah, so the music is, so the first track was like, I had words and stuff, but it is, it's changed slightly because it was more like sort of like indie rocky, but it always had that element of dance kind of to it. But I definitely want the rock with it too, like the real instruments. Excuse me. So, but yeah, and then I just wrote an album over the pandemic in a week. I recorded it with my phone, and that while I was quarantining, and that is all instrumental. That's all synthesizer, different sounds, different types of styles of music, like, and I just danced the whole time. Like I do it, I'll create a loop. And then for that sequence of sound, I'll go out and I dance. I'll dance for it until I'm like, the loop could be like a minute long and then start over, or it could be like 30 seconds long or whatever. But I will dance and I will express myself to that time frame, sequence of sound. And I'll go back and I'll add another loop of sequence of sound, and so on and so forth, until eventually you have a complete, like you have a song, but it's almost like a channel stream. It's like a whole bunch of little songs in one to comprise like a big song, you know? So that's kind of like how that's how I prefer to do it. You know, I just haven't had that many shows because I don't know, maybe people are inferior and they're shy, or they don't want to like acknowledge that they're shy or that they're having fun, or I don't know like what the fuck it is, but honestly it's super fun, and it doesn't require anything but your fun to be there and to be like you and just to move and be as silly and stupid and ugly and like boring as you ever were at my shows, because that is exactly what I see when I go to these fucking concerts and these raves. Of fucking, what the fuck are you doing here? If you're here, move. Like move your body, move your body. And I know that a lot of music is being made very, very, very similarly. So it's very repetitive. So I can see, I don't feel like dancing to all this music because it's very predictable. And then I do predictable movements, and it doesn't feel like I'm really expressing myself.
With you doing your shows, you're making your music, do you already have like an end goal in mind? Like you want to be doing shows, making music, and that's exclusively what you do as far as making a living, or are you just kind of like you're just going to do it because you love to do it, and wherever it goes is where it goes? Like how
No,
do you look at it?
no, I've been asking for this. I want to like I'm trying to get people. I would like to do, small events across, Canada, like, and the States. Like Canada's fucking boring as fuck, but not that boring. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Maybe it's not true, but I do know that definitely the States is a place that I want to go and tour around with a team, with a small team, with maybe another person, another artist. I have a friend who's an artist, and he plays like a little bit different music, but he's seasoned. Tour. He was living in Sweden and Europe. So. I think that that's a possibility, and I would like to do, have retreats maybe, or just, show up and do pop-up fucking performances, like, and have and just get people like aware of my music. But right now I don't have my friggin' looping pedal or my synthesizer, and I'm looking for work still, and like I'm going to school and like graduating in July, but it's fucking like. It's a lot. It's a lot of, I'm grateful for it as well, but I'm just like, what gives? What gives, man? Like, what gives? I'm doing work that I'm not even doing. Like, it's not even, again, going back to the thing, doing work for the money, not for what it is that I'm good at, what it is that I can be a gift to the planet. I can be a gift to people.
Right.
I'm not getting to do that.
So what's your YouTube? What's your Instagram? What's your social media?
So my social
media.
Get
that gift out to the people.
Yeah. So my social media is Neon Paintbrush with a ZZZ on Instagram, and then on YouTube, it's Neon Paintbrush with a ZH, all one word, like no spaces, all one word. And then on Vimeo, if you Google just Neon Paintbrush with the ZH on Vimeo, you'll see my paint dancing video. Just go to my Instagram, and there'll be 2 links at the top of my Instagram, and you can click on the YouTube link, and that'll bring you to my my experiences.
Okay. And for people in the States, ZZZ is ZZZ.
ZZZ, yeah. ZZZ or ZZZ. ZZH.
I'll post like the links to each one, to like your YouTube, your Vimeo, your Instagram.
Yeah.
So everything will just be there. That way people can just click it and go straight
Yeah.
to your work and see it for themselves.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah.
I know that's not even probably half of it.
Oh,